NE. So those are my thoughts on it. So I'll ask Shannon, what bits of my NE cause different? Because we talked about this like last week, I think. But maybe for the public, you could say which bits cause an issue with you, or like how it manifests your reaction to NE.
So if it's, again, going back to what I said earlier, I want to know what the agenda is. So if there's some NEing going on and I'm just like, where is this going? It exhausts me sometimes to try to follow unless it's something I'm familiar with.
Right. And I think you said before that the more familiar you are with it, if Ben's digressing onto something you're already familiar with, then it's all right. It's more tolerable.
Yeah, it's to the point where you'll notice me like flipping around in the books because it's like my brain kind of just shuts it down. And I'm just like, well, I'm going to use this 3 minutes to read about one thing that you mentioned. I'm going to go there and I'm going to learn about that one thing. And then you'll come back to something where I can anchor on, and then we can resume together.
I usually come back to it though, eventually though, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually I'll come back to it.
I think that you mentioned, Shannon, that the NE will exhaust you unless it's something that you're really familiar with. And I think that's where the beneficial circles and the super egos we come back to, they have a place, but it's not all the time. And that it's, if you have like a common task or a common interest, that's where it can be like an energetic catalyst, but not something that through like probably all parts of life you can stay engaged in a contributing way.
Yeah, like if it comes back to Enneagram or something that I'm a little more familiar with, but if it's like purely socionics or purely Kiersey, I'm not as familiar with, or going in between the systems, I'm not as adept. So it's like I want to grab one thing that I can anchor myself, so I feel like I don't get totally lost.
Right. Usually though, when I refer to something in Kiersey, I will then give an explanation of it. So I'll say in Kiersey, and then I'll give an explanation. So it's like it's not completely isolated.
It's like translating languages. The more that I between all the systems, it's like you need a few languages like accessible in your head.
So for just in terms of, because you've got the same charges here, and Victor's got this thing of things repeating on a different scale. So we could look at the ones that I've highlighted with these corresponding letters. So we've got here TI minus, logic of the researcher, analyzing the subject from many different standpoints. And this actually repeats here, there, D. In this, now this is for ISFP, or for ESI, works well with documents that involve analysis and accounting. So that's the bit that corresponds to the TI in INTP, but it's at a smaller scale. Like analyzing a subject from many different standpoints, but this is a more conservative version. It's still analysis, but on a smaller scale. And then we can say number C, a good teacher in structured disciplines, e.g. mathematics in elementary and secondary school. That's